Hi there, I'm Cambridge City Councilor Nadeem Maz, and today we're coming to you from Washington, D.C., where we're at Bobby Van's Grill, and we've just had a wonderful mixer for scientist candidates for elected office, but the real action was today. This is Shaughnessy, the founder of 314Action. Shaughnessy, tell us a little bit about today.
Well, my name is Shaughnessy Naughton. I'm the founder of 314Action, and today we had our first candidate training for scientists who are thinking about running for office. We are an organization dedicated to encouraging scientists to take that step beyond advocacy and actually get involved in electoral politics. And today was the start to that.
Tell me what the kind of medium-term goals for the organization are. What is the organization really all about?
Well, I ran for Congress, and my background is I'm a chemist by training. And one of the observations I had when I was running is one that it's really hard if you don't come from a traditional political background to break into politics. And two, there's a real lack of diversity, especially there's a real lack of people with scientific and technical backgrounds in government and in Congress. And so I founded this organization to help candidates break into that, to unite the support of the scientific community behind them, and to get them to run for office.
Great, and you said it's working.
It's working. We've had 3,000 candidates sign up for our training, and a number of them join us this evening.
That's great. And earlier we were talking with Kavya, we were talking with Mo. Kavya, she just had undergrad. Mm-hmm. She wants to be a physician.
Yes.
And she's learning that she needs to move outside of the clinical setting in order to bring healthcare solutions to people's lives.
That's what we're seeing from a lot of our candidates is these are citizen scientists who are stepping up because they're concerned with what's going on in their local communities or at the state or federal level and think we can do better. And I think one way that we can do better is to have a more pro-science approach, which is certainly what they'll bring.
Great. One thing that you and I talked a little bit about was how surprised I was when I ran for office as a scientist that people thought many of the problems in our community were intractable. And it turns out that I think that consensus is possible when you have good analysts at the table and you have good community outreach at the table. And I think both are very strong in the scientific community. Are you seeing special kind of political superpowers in your candidate class?
Well, what we're seeing is people that are more focused on solving the problem and less about arguing. And I think that does go back to perhaps their training and their education that, scientists are taught to solve problems, to look at the evidence and base their conclusions on that and not some preconceived notion. And I think that would allow for us to actually accomplish more and fight about less. And one of the issues that we try to drive home to people is that science isn't just good for scientists. Science is good for all of us. It's good for clean air and clean water and advancements in medicine and technology. And I think having people with a greater understanding of that and with a training in the sciences would allow for us to make even greater investments in that.
And in a way, I guess the science goes hand in hand. The things that people are learning in the lab and know through their experience as scientists goes hand in hand with what we need to do in society. The actual legislation is giving what we know legs, and it's giving what we've learned an actual practical account in people's lives.
Well, and I also think that we've seen from many politicians the reaction, well, I'm not a scientist, and therefore maybe they can't understand it, or no matter how accomplished or intelligent they might be. And so having people with that background says, I am a scientist, and I can tell you why this is important to us and our communities and our families.
Totally agree. On our Cambridge Council, I was proud to run with Dennis Carlone when I first ran. He's an urban planner, I'm a scientist, and together we feel like, well, someone can read the reports, and I think we're generally now, after one term, trusted even by people kind of in a different political faction when it comes to talking about the nonpartisan issues. How does it really read? When we're all on the same team looking at the same data, it's great to have that insight on the floor. Tell me, as we wrap up, Shaughnessy, what is 314Action bringing to candidates? What are the actual tools and super support that they're going to get to allow them to win?
So we've been working with a number of candidates from the beginning of their exploratory committees, helping them put together professional staff and a professional campaign, showing them everything from how you set up a campaign to putting together a communication strategy and a finance plan, so that from the beginning they can launch successful campaigns that will help them be successful in their elections.
Great. Talked to a lot of people today, people who want to run for city council, state rep, some people who want to run for Congress or in the House side or even the Senate side. These are people talking about raising $50,000 for a local race or $20 million for a big long-term battle. I think that's incredibly exciting.
It is, and that's part of what we're doing as well, is organizing our donor network to recognize that these are valuable candidates to invest in.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for your work, Shaughnessy, for 314Action. Tell us where we can find you on social media.
So we are at 314action.com, 314action on Twitter and on Facebook.
Okay, great. Well, you can find me at @NadimTron on Twitter and Instagram, and you can find me at www.nadimtron.com. Thanks again.
Thank you.
And good luck, scientists running for office.